My bad. So we're getting at where you mix and master, right? So I'm asking that because usually, not usually, say you're a band, right? Technically, a band, once they're done recording their session together, like that's it. Their production is over, right? They send it to someone to mix and master it, and the mixing engineer could add so much shit when it cut, like you were saying, that really changes the whole feel of a track, whether it's adding compression to certain things, adding delay, reverb, spacing shit out certain places, panning things. Like the mixing engineer is definitely a part of the production aspect, but I feel like
the creative, creative, like he definitely the mix. As I was saying before, I don't even cut you off, but like people usually associate production with creativity and mixing with technicality, right?
Yeah,
it's like, oh, you gotta look at the numbers, you gotta know the frequencies and shit, but how that translates, how you compress something, how you EQ something, that has a outcome on the song that is essentially creative, you know.
Makes it sound good or bad, you know.
Yeah.
A mix either makes or breaks the track.
Because like say you, and look, picking your mixing engineer is super important. Because say you send your shit to, say you're an R&B artist, right? And you're sending your shit to a trap mixer, someone that usually mixes trap music, right? They're gonna mix your shit super aggressive. Like your kicks are gonna be sounding very heavy because that's what trap is usually does to their music, right? Opposed to R&B, you want a soft kick, you want light vocals, you want airiness to your production. You don't want super compressed subs or anything like that. So like,
maybe like if the mixing engineer doesn't have as much experience with R&B, he might just do whatever he does to like trap. But I don't know if that's a good mixing engineer, you know, if it's like, oh, I don't care what your song, I don't care if you send me an orchestra piece, I'm gonna mix it like I mix dubstep, like, because that might not be the right thing to do, you know, like
that's why it's important to find who. But like some people, this is I'm really nerdy into when it gets into music, especially when it comes into like recordings. Like I have a shitload of vinyls, right? And on the vinyls, it tells you like where they recorded, who mixed this song and whatnot, and you'll start realizing it a lot more in hip hop and pop music more than others. A lot of top artists go to specific engineers, and I'm starting to realize it across all the vinyl credits they have, right? They go to the same studios, they go to these same mixing engineers because like those are the mixing engineers that are mixing shit to get played for radio. So it's like if you want your shit to get mixed to be played for radio, you go to these people, right? So like and then there's also like say you get signed to a label or something like that. I'm pretty sure a label has their specific mixing engineer that they want you to like, hey, make sure he hears your track before it goes out and whatnot, you know? So like that's definitely an aspect I forget about when I'm just producing. Because I recently started stemming out my shit when I say I'm done producing. Like, I don't want to change nothing no more. I just need a mix. I stem my shit and I'm like, okay.
That's a good way to like
cut myself off.
Yeah, that's good.
Because I used to do the same thing. Like, I'm mixing as I'm going, but I feel like that's technically just producing, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, I got to cut myself off now to producing. And then mastering, I don't even fucking know, bro. That's
YouTube. YouTube is where you'll find all the information you need. And that's like the thing with mastering. It's like, I was talking to, I don't know if you ever heard of Lursen mastering shit. They have like a plugin called Lursen Mastering Console. It's like it's a pretty big company on like mastering stuff. And mastering engineers, they'll spend like 30 minutes to an hour on a song because it's just like these like minute adjustments that like only them know what to do, you know? Like a mastering engineer, mastering is quick, but it's the fact that it's so quick and so simple makes it kind of like, how the fuck do you even do this, you know? Because to me, I mean, like, I don't know any of the technical stuff. All I know is that, like, I gotta get it to this certain loudness, and I gotta do so without distorting and without overcompressing, which is
hard.
I mean, I can keep it from distorting, but especially with how loud shit has to be, and him always being like, dude, you gotta make it louder. You gotta make it. It's not as loud as the other songs, you know. Not
so
cool.
When you try to, I feel like I get where you're coming from, because like you'll think like when you export something now, you're like, yeah, I made it louder, but in reality, you made it louder but made it more compressed. So you're like, damn it. Like,
yeah,
how do I make it louder without making it sound more compressed?
Yeah, and that's when I loaded in Laserbeam onto my DAW, it's like this mix is super clean, right? It's like crispy, it's loud, but it's not over compressed. It's dynamic, right?
Yeah.
And then you see that shit hitting -3. It's like I don't know how that's possible, but I'm gonna learn someday, you know? Like I'd say like when we first started Trypbox, I wasn't really looking at the levels. I was just kind of going by feel. That's something like using a reference track when mastering. That's like the best thing you can do. Like I wouldn't do that before, but nowadays,
can you explain what that is? You say that, and like to me, I understand what that means. But when you say I use a reference track, what does that mean to you? Like, what are you really saying?
I mean, for Trypbox, I guess I just grab other Trypbox songs that I think the mix sounds clean on, and so you literally, the way I master at least, like, because my computer is not that beefy, so I can't master on the actual project. So like once I'm done mixing,
oh yeah, you shouldn't.
I export the wave, you know, and then I open a new project. It's just like the master project for that song. I load in my wave, and then I pick a song. Usually just ends up being a Trypbox song because it's like, you know, people say it sounds clean, so I trust them. You know, it's not just like me in my head thinking it sounds clean. So I just grab that shit, drag it in, so you literally have 2 audio files, right? Your song and the reference track, and then you just kind of go back and forth. There's plugins that actually, if you load in a reference track into the plugin, it will match volume.
Isotope does that.
Yeah, like that. That's kind of cool. I found that it doesn't work 100% of the time, but yeah, you just kind of want to drag, because it's hard to have a reference when you're like, you just have your song in there, and then maybe you can look at numbers to see if it's as loud as it needs to be, but like you could be listening to it on full blast, or you could be listening to it halfway. And the louder something is, your brain perceives it as warmer, you know, as harder, which is why I guess everyone wants their shit to be loud, because like if you play the same sound 5 dB louder, people are gonna, there's been experiments on that, like people are gonna perceive that same sound, which is literally the same shit, just louder volume. They're gonna perceive it as warmer, brighter, harder, you know, it's like descriptive words. So given that, it's just like you gotta turn that shit up, and the more you turn it up, the brighter it's gonna sound, the heavier it's gonna sound. It's gonna sound better, but as soon as you like turn your volume up or down, it's gonna change the way it sounds. So you need some sort of reference to make sure you're not like, to make you know what I mean? Like
yeah, I get you 100%.
And I'll say when we like started off early in the Trypbox music career, we would just use reference tracks from, you know, other people, songs that we liked, or just songs that we liked or we looked up to, you know. And then eventually, once we had more releases, then we just started using our own songs.
Got you.
Yeah. I'd say probably like every master I do, I just drag in Through the Sky or Trust You. I think those are like the 2 cleanest mixes we have. So even if the song that we're making doesn't sound anything like that, because you want your reference track to be up the alley of what you're making, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
if you're making tech house, you want a tech house reference track. It's like sometimes maybe the music we're making is not so similar to Through the Sky or Trust You, but since the mix is clean, I just drag those in, you know. I don't even care about the rest. I just use those as a reference, and it worked, you know. Like I feel like there's also been a few tracks where we finish it, we're done with it, and then after a while we realize like, we got to go back to it, or like maybe it's not as good as we thought it was, you know. I'm sure you guys struggle with that shit too. Like, what do you even call that? Like producer deafness? I don't know what to call it. Like when you listen to something 100 times, maybe there's something that sounds like shit, but since you heard it 100 times, it doesn't sound like shit anymore to you. But as soon as another person hears it, it's like, dude, you hear that right there? That sounds whack, you know? And you're like, no, it doesn't. Which is actually good, you know, having an extra pair of ears. Like he will hear stuff sometimes where it's like, I don't hear it because I've been like, play pause like 100 times, and then he'll hear it. And then he'll tell me.
And then, we definitely have songs where we don't notice at the beginning. And then after just kind of listening to it for a month or two, we start to notice more things in the mix, go back into it, change it,
Yeah, just DJing with it as well. Like
DJing with it, playing it out at shows.
Yeah, you're playing it and when you have all these tracks you're playing and they sound dope. And then you load up a Trypbox track. You expect it to sound good because, I mean, all the boxes are checked. You have the right loudness, right mix. It sounds great. Yeah. And then you're playing it on a big sound system. And then all of a sudden it sounds really bad compared to everything else. That's how you know there's something wrong with it.
And what I like to do when I'm driving or just chilling at home, I'll put on a playlist of just like a bunch of random songs that are not from us. And then I'll include a few Trypbox works in progress, whips, and just have it play. And I'll be doing something on the side. And, you start to notice something different about your track that, needs to be changed or something like that,
I do like a similar technique. I'll start DJing like my favorite tracks in like whatever realm I produced in. And then I'll play one of like my favorite, most, I think, banger tracks. And then I'll throw my track in right next to it. And I'll see, okay, is this at that level? Did it change the energy I was at? Did it flow in good? And if it didn't, I know I need to go
in a way, that's your reference track right there.
Yeah.
Like that's the same, different method, but same result in the end. You're like comparing it to something that's already like, you're like, this is good. This is what I want my shit to be like. So you just, instead of just like taking a shot in the dark and just kind of like looking at meters and guessing where shit should be, you just listen to, you have a million options out there for you to choose from, just have a little reference,
or even not like, maybe even on like sound quality referencing, but even just like creative referencing. Like even if you want to submit to like certain labels, like even you reference sometimes like, all right, like my certain sound, like I want to reference a little bit more towards like this label. So I mean, you guys have released with several labels. I wanted to ask, when you guys have gone through the process of reaching out to a label, you send them a demo, they reach back to you guys. They probably do like the demo, but they want you guys to switch out certain things. At that time, do you get, or if I'm not sure if you guys came across that, or if not?
So we've only come across it once, and it was our first song that we were shopping to labels. There was, do you know Label Radar? You guys know Label Radar?
Yeah, I'm familiar with it. Yeah.
It's just like you can submit to a bunch of random labels with like one click of a button.
Right. Yeah.
So we were shopping out this one bass house song that we did. It was
kind of like Submit Hub.
Yeah. Right? Submit Hub is for like playlisting.
Right.
Yeah, but kind of like that.
This is kind of like for like label.
Yeah, for labels. Yeah. So we had one label get back to us.
Which song was it?
Poppin', our first song. It's our first release on Spotify. So and this label got back to us and said that the mix and master wasn't good and that they wanted like the files and that they were gonna change it. And we just
y'all were okay with that.
Well, we didn't get back to those guys. Eventually, we just kept on sending it to people.
Oh, okay. And then what did the ultimate result came?
So, no house label wanted to take it, but Bear Grylls, his label, Rude Service, took it. So that was cool because we were on a compilation and we were the only we had the only house song on the compilation.
And they took it as is, like they didn't do any extra mastering or mixing. Nope. They just like
they liked it. Yeah.
Huh. Wow. So in your guys' case, in that case, you guys were like, you know what? We're not gonna like compromise it. We're like how it is. We're gonna go show. I mean, some producers would be like, all right, I'll make the kick louder or I'll change whatever you guys like. I mean, give me notes in so I can secure the release, right? But
if they're like, yo, we just need to master it better for you. I'm like, all right, take the file and do it. Like you're taking work out of my hands, and I'm sure like you guys are not gonna make it sound like shit. But if a label is like, oh no, you got to take out this sound and that sound, and when it comes to like inputting on the creative side of things, that's like, I wouldn't be like, okay, I'm gonna change these things because I wanted to get like that's just like, it's like if you're like make a painting, and then I guess if there was like a record label for paintings, and the guy was like, oh no, you got to change that shade of red to magenta or some shit. It's like, it's not for you to decide how my art should be, you know? Like maybe put a nicer frame around it. Maybe you gotta make it a certain aspect ratio to fit in a specific expo, which would be the mixing and mastering, right? Or like sending the right file type or whatever they ask for. That we've had labels ask us like, oh, you gotta re-export the file in those settings, you know? Or like that shit's fine. But if a label is like, if a label is like, oh, you guys gotta take out that vocal. That vocal's ass. It's like, I'm not taking out the vocal. You know, that shit's.
So it wouldn't matter to you how big the label. Like you can stand on that creative label. You know what? Fuck that. Like we're just gonna go somewhere else, right?
So I'll say.
So it's depending on the label.
Yeah, you know,
the label all depends.
The label that said no, that wanted to change the mix and master. It was like a no-name label. So we were just like. We really believed in the track. You know, I believed in the track.
For
so
sure.
I kind of like chose to just say no, and we waited, and you know, we got it on Bear Grylls' label at the end, and it was like, you know, like 4 or 5 months of just kind of sending it out to labels.
I feel like that's a harsh trap a lot of like new producers come across when they send it to a label. A lot of times for like reasons of like that validation that this platform that has a following like takes in my demo, but they're telling me like, oh, it's not. The mixing is not right or the master's not right. So I can see how a lot of producers get caught in that trap. Like, oh, like this label's telling me that it's not the mixing's not good, then therefore the track is not good. Yeah. But like, for example, like maybe when you shop it around a bit more, maybe that's not the case for someone else. Like for example, Root Service, they took it in your house track. Like, hey, you know what? This is cool. Yeah. So I feel like that's definitely like a harsh trap that many newer producers come across where they send it to someone, they want to get that validation of getting the demo accepted, and then they get told, oh, you know, it's not what we're looking for, or this track is not what we want. And it's like, it's like, it's sometimes like, it's discouraging for a producer to be like, oh, damn, like, maybe my music's not like that. But that's that's the music, that's what you got to do. Like, as a music artist, you got to determine, like, all right, well, are they really making realistic, reasonable, creative points as to how my music sounds? Or are they just being biased, right? Because a lot of times labels do be biased as fuck. And like, you know what? Like, this is ass. But in reality, it's a fucking dubstep head behind a fucking a dubstep A&R working at a house label. Yeah. I don't even know why that's happening, right? But like, that's the thing, right? It's like maybe they don't even know exactly what maybe right for that particular platform. But it's just so many things. Like, as a producer, that you mentally like fight through, like whether your music is there or not. You know, comparing. Maybe ourselves with other artists, other sounds, like, it's shit's
definitely having an important person, or like a person in power, just like, or like a label tell you that your song is not good enough for them. That, especially for like a new producer, that I remember like we did like a contest back in China. It was like, 4 different people remix a song, you know, and then we'll play them out on stage for like these whoever shows up, you know. And I was like confident that mine was gonna like do good, you know, because I felt like I was better at producing than the other people. The other people that were doing it were my friends as well, you know, like we're all homies.
So you're very much aware of their production level.
Yeah, I knew what they were doing, and I was like, I think that if my shit is not as good as them, it's because it's better. You know, I'm not gonna make something worse than them. And then in the end, like I heard their tracks getting played, and then I heard my track getting played, and I was like, yeah, my track sounds better. You know, I think it sounds good. It should win. And then we literally got like last place. And to me, like hearing the fucking people, like it was like, I wouldn't say they're like famous, but they were like important people. You know, they were like
we had like industry like people judging.
Yeah, and then they were like, so I don't even remember if they talked shit about my track. I think they just like said the good stuff about the tracks that won. You know, they're like, oh yeah, good job to this guy for trying. You know, whatever. But I remember after that shit, I was just like, so sad, man. I was like crying and shit. I was like, damn, I put so much effort into it, and it's like, fuck. You know, it's frustrating. Like, I was like, I'm not even gonna do this shit anymore. You know, like, I'm just gonna find something that I'm better at, because like clearly, if those people don't think I'm good, then I'm probably not good. But that's like not true at all. You know, like that's just, it's definitely a trap, as you were saying.
Like, and it's a L. I feel that sometimes mostly everyone we all go through, like. Just things didn't work out the way we thought it would, and it's just something that you just gotta learn as much as you can from that, And
it just happens.
Sometimes it's just shit just happens.
Yeah.
Like you know, like you said, maybe you felt like you had that shit in the bag, and the next thing you know, you ended up becoming last, and like that's just one of those things where it's like it's unfortunate, but
you gotta get over it. I mean,
it's just just trying to learn as much from that scenario. You know,
art is subjective after all. You know, like you may think your shit's amazing, or a label may think your shit's bad. But that doesn't make your shit bad.
Right.
It's like, I remember seeing this like really good producer that I used to listen to back in the day. He was like, he posted it was like a mirror selfie. It had nothing to do with what he had to say, but like, it's a huge text. He was like, guys, just because a label denies your song doesn't mean it's a bad song. For example, I had this song ready. I've been sending it out to major labels for the past 2 years, and I've had many of them tell me the song is not good enough, but I finally got it signed to XYZ, you know, it was like a random label. So it's just like a moment of realization. It's like he got denied by many labels that maybe have a good name, and that maybe it's like, shit, maybe they have a point, or maybe they don't. Maybe it's just like, it's just not for them. No hard feelings. Move on, you know? And even if you don't sign it at all, it just doesn't make it a bad song, you know? There's always going to be one person that will connect to it, unless it's like really bad, you know?
And I think a lesson learned is, you know, you got to believe in your own music first, you know?
Yeah.
You're going to get a lot of no's, but, you know, eventually that yes is going to come after those many, many no's.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Shit, how we feeling, guys? Man, we've just been vibing out, man. Just talking, bro.
Also earlier, talking about the record labels. If it was really, really big, we might make some compromises, I think.
I mean,
I'm sure it happens. I'm sure.
If it was like Warner Music or like, I don't know, Sony Music, fucking Virgin Records or something.
So
Atlantic Records.
What if it was you submitted to like a label that had all your favorite, like, okay, say Oslo was still a thing, right? And you submitted a track to Oslo and they messaged you back saying, oh, I like it. These two people want to hop on and collab with you. Would you do something like that? Or would you guys be like, nah, it's my art?
Oh, to be on Ausla?
Yeah. So like you were submitting a track to Osla and they're like, we like it, but Habstrack and blah, blah, blah want to hop on it and then we'll release it.
I think it.
But then just putting their name on it and not changing the song?
No. They like
they'll work on it?
Put more production
I mean,
on
if
it
it's
on
a
top
dope,
of that.
If I like the artists, you know,
I
mean,
if I fuck with them, as long as I like the artists, then I think it's cool.
If Habstrack was like, yo, let me get on your track, like, you go ahead, man. You go ahead. Just change everything you want.
Just changes the title.
Yeah.
Change the title, takes our name off.
You said change whatever I want.
Holy shit, that's fun.
We asked him what happened. It's like we asked him what happened to the song. He's like, what song?
Yeah, dude.
Nah, because I've been in a situation like that where like I submitted it to a label that I liked, and then two of the artists were like, hey, like, we like it. Would you be down to collab? And I was like, oh shit, fuck, okay, like. I didn't necessarily think I was going to get a collab from sending it to a label, but I mean, like, with the circumstances being, I like these fucking artists. I was like, hell yeah, let's fucking do it.
There you go.
So, like, I don't know, like, there's always different situations with every different song, you know? Because I'm not going to lie, sending that song, when I send songs to labels, I feel like it's because, like, I either really want the label to curate this track because I feel like this is a perfect vibe, or because like, look, I'm done with this track. I don't know what to do with it. I probably can't promote it the way you guys promote it, so I'm sending it out. So sometimes like whatever they want to choose to do with my track, I don't mind. I don't know. I'm very open with like my music just because like I feel like in life, I don't want to be held to one thing. Like, I always want to let the possibilities be open, let all the doors go open. Because, like, you never know, like, maybe changing a thing, one snare or something for a track will land you, like, a placement in, like, your dream label, you know? And all it took was a snare change or something like that. And, like, bam, like, you know, that's one of your goals, like, knocked out type shit. But, like, it just all depends, like, where you choose to lie with like your creation, you know, like what's the end result? I feel like, are you satisfied with the end result? I feel like is the ultimate.
That's true.
Hey, if we got to keep the Trypbox name before whatever artist they wanted to put on it, then you know, let that shit happen.
Yeah. And you're talking about the end result. I think I would consider that too, even if it was like Habstract wanted to hop on the track and it ended up being a shitty song. Like, I think I would say something about it. But you know what? I'm sure Habstract would.
Damn,
make a good
I never
track.
thought about that, bro.
Yeah.
Like, what happens if I send someone a track and they're like, "Oh yeah, they want to hop on," and then it turns out, like not my track.
Yeah, like you look up to them and then they just like they send it back and you just hate it, you know?
Yeah.
So you'll say something for sure.
I would say something
like,
and try to work
it
it
don't
out.
even matter at that point. Like, well, it's good that I think it's good that an artist should be proud of what they push out. For sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
'Cause
first and
it
foremost, that's a
represents you.
principle. Yeah, for sure.
Have you guys ever gone through that? Like, collab with someone and then you just realize it's not working? Has that ever happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I have one person in mind. I'm not gonna say it, but I think you know who I'm talking about.
Okay, yeah. Talk about it.
I'm not gonna say his name, but
You don't have to say
you don't
names,
say his
but
name.
go ahead and bring
No,
up
I
situations.
mean, we can say it's ghost producer though, but, he or she or they. I don't know. I don't know.
No, so like it was this person wanted to like make a song with us, you know. Patrick is usually the one who's on Instagram talking to everyone, you know, like I met you today, but I met you like first time Friday, I think it was, right?
yeah, at the show, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm sure you guys were talking more before, like, right?
Sure.
Yeah. Patrick has been, this person has been texting the Trypbox Instagram a lot. Not sure if it's genuine vibes or not, or if he's just trying to like get around because he thinks we're gonna blow up or something, you know? Never know. I don't assume shit like that, you know. You'll have my respect till you lose it kind of thing, you know? Like, so this guy was you know, he's just like, yeah, always just talking to us about random shit, and then at some point he was like, oh yeah, let's make a song, you know?
Yeah.
And we're like, all right.
I'll say too, like for the whole time, the conversation just felt very forced, you know?
Got it.
But
I wouldn't know because I'm not the one talking to him. So.
yeah. But we still try to make something work out because, you know, he had some dope accomplishments and his songs were like not bad, you know. There's some good qualities to his music and his branding. So, you know, we gave it a try.
We tried it, bro.
Yeah.
We tried it.
We tried
Nice
it, you know.
Yeah. And so we were like, okay, let's do it, you know. And then I think we first sent out some stuff to him, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't think honestly, I don't even remember like what we sent or what the track ended up being like, but essentially like back and forth, you know, we were working on it, and then in the end we were just like, oh shit, we don't think this track is going where you know where we want it to go. And I think that's a respectable thing to say. It's like as much as it is a collaboration, it's like if I'm not satisfied with it, you might be, you know, you can keep the song. I don't give a fuck, but I'm not gonna keep working on it, especially if it like frustrates me to try to, you know, spend 5 hours like play pause, drag shit out, switch it in, and it's like super frustrating. I'm just like, why am I even doing this? You know, like, so in the end it was just like, all right, we can take a step back, maybe start something new in the future. But why were we even talking about this? What was the question?
Oh no, just
If collabs never worked out.
Oh yeah,
Right,
so
if
yeah, I
collabs
guess
never worked out.
This one was one of them.
Yeah.
it's crazy. I've been through a situation where collab didn't work out, and it was weird because there was a language barrier between me and this producer. Like, it's gonna be weird. I'm Hispanic, right? But I don't speak Spanish, and this guy only spoke Spanish. So like he was messaging me in DMs like in Spanish and stuff like that. So he basically had a track that he put out on his Instagram. He was like, "Oh, who wants to collab?" I DM'd him. I was like, "Oh, I like this. Like, I'm down to collab." And then he was like, I forgot what he even said back because like I said it was in Spanish. So I can't even remember what he said.
But you texted him in Spanish?
No, I didn't. I texted him in English.
Okay.
And he responded, but in Spanish. And then, but then he sent me the link for the download stems and all that. So I was like, okay, cool, let's do this. And I pretty much did what I did, and I sent it back to him. And like he sent me like a message back. He was like, I don't really like sound like in English as best. He was like, I don't really something about sounds, and like I couldn't really understand what he was saying. But I was like, damn, all right, well, like I can't even like explain to him, oh, like what to change, blah blah blah, because I there's a big language barrier. So I was like, damn, I think at this point I should just like try. I tried and maybe send him another version back later in the future. But I was like, damn, like it was. It was just weird. It was just weird. I was like, damn, I really.
Language barriers are definitely like kind of fucked. I've tried working with people that don't speak English in the past, and it's like you can Google Translate stuff, but sometimes it seems like they're really trying to just like make it hard to understand shit. You know, it's not cool. But
and like you're I feel like you're trying to, you're trying to translate and not come off as offensive.
Yeah.
You might think you're saying something in a nice way, but then like. They're like, oh, this guy's like trying to be an asshole to me or something. But you're not in any way trying to be like that,
Right. For sure. And like, because I have the stems, right? And you were hitting at like, I don't know how I would feel if, say if the roles were reversed and he had my track and he ended up putting out that track anyways. I don't know how I'd feel about that, like.
As long as you tell him, like, you send him the song, he does shit, you don't like it, and then in the end, it's just like, because we've had that happen to us actually. Like, we were working with this guy, and we were he sent us he had like a list of IDs. We picked one that we liked, fucked around with it, made some cool shit, and he was like, all right, send the stems back to me. I'm gonna do some more stuff. And then he didn't reply to us for like months. He's like, oh, I'm busy with this, and that. Then at some point, he was just like, oh, I'm changing my sound. You guys can keep the track, because it's like, I'm not going to use this anyways because I'm changing my sound. So as long as there's this communication, which I guess is hard if there's a language barrier, but as long as you're upfront about it, like, I know I started this song. This was my idea, but you're fine. You can do your thing with it. Or it's like, since this is my idea, like, you're off the track. You could go about it a million ways.
Yeah, or like, this is my idea. Like, pay me this amount of money, you can keep it or something.
Yeah, you can also go about that.
So, because we had a situation where I had someone come onto a podcast. We talked about production and whatnot, right? And I just want to bring this situation up and like see how you guys would feel about this. Say someone was working on a track, or you were in the studio with each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
with a different producer.
Let's just say it's you two, right?
Uh-huh.
And you're working. You're the one actually like working on everything, right? And he's just telling you to do this, do that, and then you guys never go in the studio again together, but you still have that track. And then you still kept working on it and you finished it, but now there's no more communication between you two, like whatsoever. You guys have gone your own ways. What should happen with that track?
I'd say it's just all about communication. I don't know.
I think we would agree on something, whether like, I get a percentage of the royalties or, none. It's just, we agree on something and maybe like sign a contract.
So say like a year gone by and then he releases that track.
Without like my permission?
Yeah, you just realized, he released it, like, and now it's his track.
Yeah,
how do you feel about that?
I think there'll be a problem here.
That'd be like, I mean,
I think that wouldn't be cool for any
sure.
situation,
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I've had that actually happen once to me. Like when I was back in Brazil for high school, there was this producer who was pretty big in Brazil, and he had connections to some kids in my school, and so these kids connected me with him. And he was like, oh, yeah, let's make a song together, And I sent him this idea. It was like very mainstream. And he was like, oh, I love this. Send me the stems. Never got back to me. 6 months later, shit's on Spotify. I paid for that vocal. I paid for rights for that vocal, And that shit's just out there now under his name. And it's like, I could be like, oh, I'm going to get my lawyers. I'm going to sue you. You're stealing my creative property.
But I'm guessing there was no contract, right?
Yeah, there was no contract, but also like,
was he getting traction on the plays though?
I don't even know, man. I don't keep up with that guy. Like, I just know that it was like my friend was like, yo, he stole your song, bro, because he knew, like, my friend knew which track it was, and like I didn't keep up with that guy at all, and he was just like, oh yeah, he stole it, and he like pulled up Spotify, and I just listened to it through his phone, and I was like, shit, that's literally the song I sent him. It's not like a heavily edited. It was literally the shit I sent him. He added maybe 1 or 2 things and released it. And I was just like, damn, that sucks, man.
Yeah, that's why I feel like it gets a little skeptical when the higher artists ask like the smaller artists, oh, hey, send me some stems, let's work on some shit.
Yeah.
And then like there's like that communication for that first month. It's kind of like that shit with the social network. When Mark Zuckerberg and the brothers, like, they're trying to work on like the Harvard shit, but Mark is just like keep ignoring them and work on the idea on, you know, some Mark Zuckerberg shit, right?
Yeah.
Like you just you know, cut communication and then you just do your own thing with that. Like I feel like that's like one of my fears too, like getting to a collaboration like process with a bigger artist, especially like that might have a much more bigger influence, much more like bigger power of what I have in the industry. Like them asking me for stems and I'm agreeing to a collab. And again, this is like when contracts and everything would have to be all like
there's nothing
presented. Right. So like for shit like that, I think it's like to protect yourself for stuff like that. And then I think that's the thing too, like just setting up the foundation to protect yourself for shit like that. Cause song theft is real and like you see it all the times too. You know?
Motions, we had our homeboy on here. He wasn't collabing with that guy, right?
No, like apparently like this person just grabbed like his song and it just happened.
Oh yeah, this was before like, okay, so you know how before we were able to monetize our tracks like on streaming platforms and all this stuff?
Yeah.
So our homie produced dope ass track, right? He had it on he said YouTube and maybe just SoundCloud. And someone from overseas, he said Africa or something like that.
Yeah.
They uploaded it onto the streaming platforms and then it got over millions of plays, bro.
Shit.
Yeah.
So the distributor, the person in wherever country, they ended up getting the fucking royalties from the streaming platform
of his track.
And it was a thing where you couldn't like. It was just very
because it's overseas. Suing someone is so like weird and whatnot. You have to find the person, and then you got to do all this other shit. So like
different laws.
I've had that happen to me actually. Like it didn't like rack up millions of plays. It was just like a nobody on a no-name label. But so what I used to do to like pick up stats, you know, followers.
Is that song that starts with a P?
Yeah.
That one. Okay.
So I would basically go on YouTube and release the project files for all my music. I'd be like, you guys want to download this and learn from it? You know, go through the download link, comment on my song, and you can download it or whatever. And
do that too?
Huh?
You do that?
Not anymore, but I used to because that, like, dude, I had like projects, not necessarily my own music, but like random project files that'll cook up and put on YouTube. That shit got like 5,000 downloads. Like that's 5,000 followers on my name. You know?
I've learned that like stems, FLPs and shit like that, people will fucking download,
because
bro.
It's so good for learning.
Regardless of how many steps you put in, like in exchanges, people are
like if you check my old SoundCloud, my songs are gonna have like 700, 800 comments on them. It's just gonna be like random letters. Nice, thank you, random shit. And sometimes it's like,
I hate doing this shit.
And sometimes it's like the same person commenting 4 times because they downloaded 4 different projects, and it's like, hey, like the same shit 4 times because they're just downloading 4 different projects, but they gotta comment 4 times.
It's a nice proof of concept that people are grabbing your shit, though.
Yeah, it is, but it's in a way it's not that organic, you know. But
it does. I noticed it does help with like the SoundCloud algorithm.
Yeah,
getting more plays.
Yeah,
definitely for sure.
But yeah, back to what I was saying though. Like, so I wasn't uploading my shit to Spotify. So the IRSC code, I think it's like the code that like identifies your track around all the platforms. I wasn't getting any of those because I was just uploading to SoundCloud. And random German motherfucker just like saw the project, downloaded it, exported the master, you know, send it to a random label. And like I remember at one point I went to migrate my SoundCloud accounts because I had like a remix page and an official like page, you know. So that song was an original and it was on the remix page. So I like made it private on the remix page and re-uploaded it on the originals page. And as soon as I re-uploaded it, it was like, oh, this track has been taken down for copyright. And I was like, oh shit, no, it's me. I had it uploaded on my other page and I was about to check and it's like random fucking German label with like 10 followers. And then I'm checking who the artist is. And then I was just like, this guy really just fucking stole my song like that. And then I emailed them. I was like, yo, guys, this artist just stole my song and it's signed to your label. Could you guys please take it down? And they got back to me and I was like, nope. He has the project file. He has proof that it's his song, so we're not taking it down. And I was like, look at the day I uploaded the song. Look at the day the video was posted. You can check that he downloaded that shit. He has like a comment on my song. They're like, nope. And I was like, all right, I'm going to find a way to like get my shit back, And it was like a 7-month process. Like, I think SoundCloud has this thing called repost now, right? Yeah. It's when they first started out, since I had a bunch of traction on my shit from the download gates, they had like, you had to like request the service and they would allow you and you could like distribute your music for free through that into all the platforms. Yep. And bad. Like when it first started, I got into that shit and then I emailed them. I was like, yo guys, this motherfucker stole my track. Can you help me? And they were like, okay. So they contacted the fucking label, got their like legal shit going on. And then 7 months later, all good, but fuck that, motherfucker just downloaded my project off YouTube and he's like, it's my song now. It's not cool.
Fucked up. At least that guy didn't blow up off your song. That'd be worse.
Yeah, it wasn't even that good of a song anyways. I don't think it blow up
that song. I like that song.
Well, how can artists protect themselves from that? I think that's a very important question because it sucks to say this, but it's gonna happen to a lot of producers. You
gotta register your music, get that
right, exactly.
IRSC code, get that shit, because that's It doesn't matter where you upload your song to. If you have that shit registered, all the major streaming platforms, they're connected to the database. And if your shit is on the database with that number, the second you upload it somewhere, it's going to be like, okay, this waveform, this shit is that song by this guy. And as long as you register under your name, do the proper way, or like through a label, the label is going to do all that for you. Maybe they'll keep some of the royalties, but whatever, But
what about like someone that's like, let's say what about an artist that doesn't have that support of a label? Like they obviously registering with ASCAP, making sure that the minute you render that shit out, isn't that pretty much like your first sense of like ownership of a sound recording?
Yeah, I
think so there's nothing in writing or anything though, right?
It's your intellectual property, and it's like you can't trust people to respect that,
Oh yeah, for sure.
And so the way you do it with music is you get that shit registered onto the official database. Because once it's registered on there...
An official database would be like ASCAP, BMI, right?
I don't...
Sound Exchange and all...
So there is
BMI.
All those pros, right?
Yeah, but that's... There is an actual... So IRSC, that code, it belongs to this company. It's like something American Audio Recording Ownership. It's like a weird-ass name. And that company is like the official thing that even like overseas, like... Spotify is not just in the US, but all of these codes are in that database from that company. I might be wrong. No, don't quote me on this, but I think from what I remember reading, you have these like organizations that are like the official shit. So all the major streaming platforms, they're going to be pulling the information about potential copyright from that database. So as long as you're on there and you're registered, you shouldn't run into any issues. But yeah, I mean, maybe there's more that goes into it. I'm not sure.
Honestly, the whole registering your music thing, that's a fucking process, bro. Like, I'm gonna just say like that.
It is.
Sure. There's just so much that goes into like you're protecting your music. It's not just like a walk in the park. You wake up and like you just open it on SoundCloud, it's protected. No, like you gotta like you gotta really do your research and like if your shit gets stolen and it gets put into film.
Yeah, I learned all that shit because of the guy stealing my song, He stole my song. I was like, okay, I gotta like read some shit, figure out what this stuff even means, And then that's when I read about this stuff. And yeah, I guess you're never really compelled to learn about it until it really hits you. Yeah, exactly.
Like do we think about that enough as music producers? Like
should you certainly should, yeah.
Right?
It needs to be more known because a lot of us...
It should be more thought out, right? I feel like...
Put it out.
Right.
That's it.
And I feel like and it's not necessarily like the music producer's fault that they might not know these things, because that's the thing. Like when you're a music producer, you're not really trying to primarily focus on like protecting your music. You just focus on making the music, making it sound how you want it, and then if you want to release it for people to like hopefully connect to it or listen to it, like, that's on you. But like a lot of times it's not a thing that's a thought for like music producers. Like how like is it protected now, or do you have the proper like registration for it for like we could track like whether it gets uploaded on YouTube. I feel like that's like
it's not a common thing.
A lot of thing, dude.
Because I mean, if you think about it, back in the day, if you wanted access to a studio to record your music, you had to go to a label.
For sure.
And the label has all that down, so you don't have to worry about that. But nowadays, the accessibility of music production is you have a computer, you have some headphones, you're good to go. Crack the software, make some music, upload it to SoundCloud instantly, and you're going. And it's like, at that point, it's like so many bedroom producers just uploading their shit to SoundCloud, but it's like, as soon as you gotta look into Spotify and that stuff, you gotta pay for a distribution service. So it's like, fuck, do I want to spend? Well, and a lot of these people, they're like living at their parents' house. It's like a kid, like for me as a kid, when I first started to realize like maybe I gotta pay for some promo. It's like I didn't even have a job. I had to like ask my dad, "Can I pay for this?" And it's like, am I gonna really just fucking drop $50 for this? You know, what's apparently is just a hobby. So it's like. It seems at first less like a business and more like a thing that you just do because you can, you know?
Yeah.
But once you start to see it more as a business, or until a situation comes to you where it's like, shit, somebody stole your song because you're not registering it properly, then you kind of start to hear about it, I guess. But the fact that anyone can just start making music and upload it anytime, anywhere for free, that kind of takes away from that aspect, because it's more of like, oh, let's make some music. Not so much as let's treat this as like a business of its own, you know. It's just more like about the art form or whatever.
And I respect that, like back in the day, you know, when it wasn't that much of a self-independent artist market, like that's really your first go-to when you want distribution was like a label.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, and so they usually took care of the whole like registering the music.
They got the lawyers.
Yeah, exactly. They had so the music artists are not really worried about that shit. It's really just the platforms and labels.
Vinyls, man. That you would make your sales and put your songs out there through vinyls, then CDs, you know, cassettes. I guess cassettes are even older, but nowadays it's all digital. It's all streaming. You know, people are not making money off of vinyls anymore, at least not as much as they used to. And the fact that it's digital and it's like, how are you gonna steal someone's vinyl? Like, how are you gonna steal a song from a vinyl? That's not easy. Whereas digital era is like, download, rename, submit. You spent 5 minutes on that shit and you just stole someone's song. So effortless, you know? So I guess the fact that it's all digital also like helps.
I think we should. I think for those that are tuned in, newer music producers that are not necessarily thinking about that stuff, I think that's something now in this market. I think in the climate of things now that it's much more of an independent artist market than it is like because back then for sure. The reliance was much more heavier on the label side, but now anyone can just have the resource to get a distributor and like start releasing through DSP. So I think that is something good to talk about, like the ways to protect ourselves when it comes to those instances where we don't have to spend so much time and focus and having to gain ownership of a track because some person in Africa is uploaded that shit and is now getting a check and I'm not. So definitely do your research. You know, whether you make music or you make scores or just anything sound wise, like. I think that's just if you're an independent artist, I think that's just something to take time. And take some research to do is like protecting yourself with like
that's the whole thing
copywriting
about NFTs,
and all
you know, like NFTs, the copyright shit. You can download a JPEG off the internet and like I have this artwork now, but NFTs, the whole point is like, you know, everyone making fun of NFTs. Oh, I can copy and paste and I have it now, but it's like,
but you still have the
it's a digital art form. So how do you gauge that? Like, oh, I have a $10 million painting on my wall. That's one thing. You can't just copy and paste that. But once you go into the digital world and you have a scan of that painting, you can just, you know, you can copy and paste it. But, you know, as digital becomes more and more important, there's regulations that start to be set. Because at first it's like no man's land, bro. Like it's the internet, no regulations. You can do whatever the fuck you want. And the more people start doing fucked up shit, the more regulations start coming out. And so I don't know how that's going to work for music. I don't know if there could be a version of NFTs for music, but
dude, if I could be real, I haven't heard the word NFT in like months. So the fact that you're saying NFT is crazy.
It was just like
how let me ask you this: how sure are you with like the NFT stuff? Like, cause I don't really know too much about that shit.
I love the jokes like copy and paste. It's like this guy just paid $3 million for a picture of a monkey. And I just clicked on his profile picture and put it in mine. It's like, that shit's funny because it's like, you know, it's like, oh, these people are fucking paying millions of dollars. There's like people paying millions of dollars for digital spaces to host digital fashion shows for digital clothes that you wear on a digital character. You know, like that shit at first, it's like you got nothing better to do. You couldn't have spent $1 million on an actual house to host an actual fashion thing.
Right.
Why the fuck are you doing it digital? Because it's the future. You know, it's the future. And with anything that's new, everyone's gonna shit on it at first. I shat on it. I'ma still make fun of it. You know, I'ma still copy and paste it. But I think like the more things become digital, the more people are gonna. There's like the paradigm shift. You know, it's like it's gonna go from like fuck NFTs, that shit's a joke, to like, oh shit, I can become a millionaire overnight from that. Maybe it's not so much of a joke. You know,
right.
And as the public, the general understanding of it changes to like, you know, NFTs are actually like an art, like a digital artist making his art in Photoshop and putting that out there. That's also art. You shouldn't just fucking copy and paste that shit off the website and be like, I have this now. You know, just like you don't walk into an art auction and pick up a painting off the wall and walk out of the door. You don't do that shit. You got to pay for it, you know?
Or you don't take a picture and be like, oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like they usually don't allow fucking pictures inside art auctions because it's like.
Okay, but you rip shit off of YouTube, yeah? You rip shit off of SoundCloud?
I do. Hey, I'm saying the shit, but yeah, I'm not. Until regulations are established, bro, I'm gonna do my thing, man. I'm not paying for fucking music, you know, because that's not, artists don't even make money off somebody buying their song, man. Like it's all about. Oh yeah.
I mean, I was gonna say it's all about, you know, the tours and the merch and, you know, monetizing other things other than just your streams, you know.
Yeah, so like I'm
like nobody's. I don't think anyone's buying music off of like iTunes anymore. Right.
I mean,
no way.
It's mostly just DJs buying off of Beatport. You know.
Well, I'll tell you. Look, I'll give you guys the data of like since the first year I started uploading music on Apple Music, and it's just like from my experience. I've only had one person like just pay for one track out of the 5 years, only once.
Okay.
Actually, go into iTunes Store and pay the track.
You know what's
Everything
crazy?
Else is streams.
Older people, I want to say maybe like, we're getting. I'm getting into my 30s. I guess I'm 26, right? But I know like the people that were a little bit older than me, right? That are maybe in their mid 30s and stuff. They grew up buying music off iTunes. Like that was their thing. And I listened to podcasts and I listened to people where they say, no, I like to have my MP3. Like I like to download my track from iTunes and have that MP3 file. Like, I know there's a lot of people that are still like that.
It's the old school way, man.
And that's technically the right way to do it, bro. That's the best way to support an artist, bro, is to buy it.
Just like when
Bandcamp.
shout
out Bandcamp.
Discs, you know, or vinyls. That's like, so you'd measure a success back in the day as in vinyl sales, you know? How many vinyl sales or disc sales has this song? Like, then you see how much money that artist made from that song, but
CDs, all that.
Yeah,
and you're seeing vinyl. You see vinyls are kind of making a comeback right now, and
look,
people are making more money off vinyl than streaming platforms. You know,
vinyls are good if you have a fan base.
Exactly.
If you have a fan base, vinyls are probably some of the best things you could do because you're not just giving them a wax vinyl, you're giving them artwork because the cover art is going on the vinyl.
Yeah.
Once, like, cause some vinyls you open up to, that's artwork you could put inside the vinyl.
It's a different experience for sure.
It's a whole new. I love vinyl, bro. That's like my thing. Like, it's a fun thing to do. But if you don't have a fan base for it, like, vinyl's expensive, bro. Like, to print vinyl, multiple copies, they don't just like a single copy. Say you wanted to make your own vinyl. A single copy, the cheapest I found it for is like $100 for just one vinyl, bro. Imagine doing $100 per vinyl. Like you have to do it in mass, right? Yeah. So like, if you're gonna do vinyl, that means you need to have a fan base that you know is gonna buy all the vinyl. Because, like I said, the profit margin is very thin for vinyl. Like I said, you have to buy it in bulk to make a profit pretty
lower
much.
The costs per vinyl.
Exactly. Right? But then also think about it, if you really want to make it an experience, now you got to pay for packaging. You got to pay for all the artwork, all the extra paper you're putting into the vinyl. You got to pay for the plastic, pay for the distribution now, how it's getting sent out. Like I said, profit margins for vinyls are super low. So if you're doing it, you're really doing it because you love the craft type shit.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that also, if you think about it, then digital, it's like you make less money, but you also don't spend any money.
That's exactly
Maybe
it.
you're paying for a distribution service. But,
but it's cheap.
Oh yeah, but you're paying
a lot of cheap services.
Yeah, or like if you have a label do it for you, then you're spending no money
Nothing
at all. Well, like you're paying for your track to get up there, but then for a person to listen to it, they don't have to pay anything, and you don't have to manufacture anything. You just gotta put an initial investment.
Question, because I don't know the answer to this. When we send our shit to distributions, are we sending our shit to iTunes? Does it get put on iTunes or just Apple Music?
It's put on iTunes.
Well, at least with my distributor, it does. It actually doesn't like let me check it, so it automatically goes to iTunes. But I know
so you don't get to set the because I'm thinking because
I can check right now. I think I'm gonna see if Trypbox is on here.
I can set the price.
Because I'm thinking because I recently had a track released on a label and they put it on Beatport and I didn't necessarily get it make the price point for the track that was on Beatport, so like I'm just thinking. So it's on iTunes?
It's on iTunes. I just checked. Trypbox is on iTunes.
If you're distributing yourself, you can usually, if it's a good distribution service, you can pick the platforms you want it on. And I'm pretty sure they'll have an option for Apple Music and iTunes. I see. But like for all the songs that we signed to labels, like I was creating smart links for the songs where like HypeEdit just finds the song in every platform. Okay. And there's been a few where it finds like our song in like 20 different platforms that I've never heard of, but it's just like it's out there for the 10 people that use that platform,
And you'll see some independent artists really just self-releasing, and I've come across a few where they only have their song on Apple Music, Spotify, and Beatport, and nowhere else, or sometimes just Apple Music and Spotify. So
you don't need nothing else, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean,
YouTube is also big.
Oh yeah,
YouTube Music.
But you know what's crazy? I see a lot of people when they do distribute to YouTube, they're distributing it through a distributor rather than distributing it off of like their own YouTube.
Because YouTube Music is different than just regular YouTube, right?
Yeah. But I feel like uploading it yourself on YouTube is probably a better option because that's building your own platform rather than you relying on the distribution from.
It's funny.
The name on the account is like something topic.
Yeah, Trypbox topic, bro.
Yeah,
I was compiling our links for the smart links, and like we have 10 different Trypbox channels with 0 subscribers, just called Trypbox topic.
Yeah,
and it's like, what the fuck?
One of my tracks is in a topic, but it has other people's music on the page
inside that channel.
Yeah, and I'm like, what?
That's actually kind of random.
Bro? I was like, that's weird. Yeah, but so now I'm just uploading it on my channel on my own, and then grabbing the link I
don't even know. Code. I think like YouTube Music is kind of weird because there's people who upload our remixes to YouTube. And it goes automatically into YouTube Music, which technically, like, if it's unofficial, it shouldn't be on there. But like, there's like random channels that just like when I was creating the smart links for the remixes, there was like a lot of links for YouTube Music that's just like random person uploaded it, and somehow it gets into YouTube Music, even though it's not like.
Good thing though is I checked those aren't monetized, so that's good.
Yeah, not that they're gonna be making a lot of money off of it anyways, but
we'll see.
Hey, if they do, we'll claim it.
Yeah, we'll claim it. We'll
claim all that shit.
I guess another thing too about like protecting your music, just the bigger picture is like protecting your name, protecting your brand. Like getting an LLC for your artist name and stuff like that. I don't know too much about it, but I've had like multiple people tell me Trypbox needs to have like an LLC, and everything's gonna be a lot smoother. Do you guys know anything about that?
I know what it stands for.
What does it stand for?
Limited liability contract. I think.
Limited liability corporation, I believe.
You think so? I don't know.
I'm gonna go corporation.
I go contract. Can you look that up actually?
Fisher's contract. Because at the end, I think it's contract as well. But so I can tell you the benefits of getting that.
Limited liability company.
company.
Oh, that works too.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you said, what did you say?
Corporation.
Yeah.
I mean, I've
We're
heard a
all
lot of
wrong.
people
You were
say like
closer.
your LLC is your company, so I get it.
Yeah. Whatever.
So, because I got an LLC for Lose the Tempo.
Nice.
The benefits of it is you get pretty much a tax code for your business, and that's pretty much a social security for your business. So now you can get credit through the Lose the Tempo or whatever your corporation is, and it's good if you guys are making money already. If you guys are already profiting, if you're not profiting, it's not going to help you whatsoever. But if you are profiting, at the end of the year, you get to write shit off. And like I said, you could pull credit cards underneath this, and none of this will fall underneath your name. But like, say you end up pulling up too much credit, you can't pay it, blah blah blah. It'll all fall on your LLC, and basically your LLC can go bankrupt. But you as a person, it's not on anything of yours. You as a person, it's not on you. So say, I guess this wouldn't happen, but say like you were playing a show and you guys decided to cake someone, right?
Yeah.
And then that person got fucked up and blinded in the eye, right? And now they want to sue y'all. They're suing your LLC and not you guys individually. So now like them suing won't go on your guys' record or anything like that. They can't sue you for your money, only Trypbox's money, pretty much. Only like what that is for. So that's what you would want an LLC for. So like say you guys are making money, all the money you guys would profit from Trypbox goes to the LLC bank account. Yeah. And then now like every time you guys go out to eat, every time you guys have a conversation, every time you guys buy clothes for your DJ, at the end of the year, you write that off in your taxes, so you don't got to pay anything. You know, like it really helps you guys out.
Yeah, I was gonna say like, especially if we're gonna be start to sell stuff.
Yeah,
like there has to be like, you can't be fucking evading taxes. You know that shit's gonna.
No,
the IRS is gonna kill you.
At you, fam.
Yeah, so I was thinking about that. I was like, bro, we're gonna be selling stuff. I might need to look into like tax shit because I don't want to like get fucking arrested for tax evasion or something.
You're still in college, yeah?
Yeah.
Bro, find a friend accountant, fam. Like, find a buddy that's going to college for accounting. Like, be friends with them. Be like, hey, bro, look, I'm starting Trypbox. We need an accountant, bro. Like, do you believe in this? Like, and like, they'll know what to do. That's building your team type shit. Like, and they'll help you manage all that. That's what they're going to school for. This is like, some people go to school just so they could do this exactly, so like take advantage of the college experience you feel me?
For sure.
Like that's definitely something that a lot of people overlook when they think about I need a team. It's not just a visual designer, it's not just a photographer. Get your ass an accountant, fam, because he's gonna save you money and make you money at the same time.
For sure.
It helps a lot, especially if you're already making money, bro.
Yeah,
gotcha. And I was also gonna say, like, also just maybe like trademarking your name as well, so people can't steal it, right?
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, that's exactly what that's for.
Does the LLC automatically trademark your name or no?
So you get the LLC and then no, it doesn't automatically. It gets you the LLC underneath that name, but it doesn't trademark that name necessarily. Mm-hmm. So like someone could still make Lose the Tempo Bakery because we don't have the trademark to Lose the Tempo.
It makes sense.
So it's a little bit different there.
How do you trademark that though?
Websites. There's websites you go to that'll do it for you, but it costs money type shit.
I'm sure
a quick Google search will do.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's a lot of shit like to read and stuff too.
There's different trademarking shit too. Like
it's
not just like one general trademark for everything. It's just like, are you trademarking an entertainment thing or is it like, it's just different trademarking for. Are you selling stuff? Shit like that.
Yeah,
there's a bunch of like different things that go into that. I mean, and that's why I feel like that's why many music artists like even try to like delve into that section of music because it's just so much shit to keep up with. Like just so much that's not music related. It's just all business related, all paper.
So much. You know what's crazy though? Because I thought about this, right? When we first started producing music and stuff, did we all think ideally all we're supposed to be able to do is produce and DJ? Like that's all we're supposed to, like that's what a DJ's all they're supposed to do. But like, who told us that? Who put that in our head that that's all a DJ does, bro?
That's why.
Because that's not it.
Oh
that's
my God.
True.
He saves me so much bullshit because I get to just make my music, and anything that comes after the export, it's on him. Submitting to labels, Instagram, booking shows, anything you can think of that's not production, I'm not touching it.
You're in a unique situation.
Yeah.
Man. You feel me? Like
I feel so good about it, man. Don't have to worry about that shit.
But that's part of being like a producer / DJ. Yeah. Like that's literally
it is a
like
big part
that
of it.
Part of the DJ and producer job, but no one really thinks. People really
of a successful one, at least, you know. Yeah, if you want to be a successful, well-connected, you know. Because I mean, I'd say I was making good music before Trypbox, but I didn't know what to do with the music. I was submitting through labels online, but that's about it. I didn't know how to put my face out there. Like I didn't know who to talk to, where to go, you know.
Yeah.
It's just like I just wanted to do the music, and anytime it came to like the business side of things, I would just get frustrated, feel anxious about it. It's like, damn. I got to do something that I'm not doing. I don't know what it is, and I don't want to learn about it. I just want to keep making music. And so when we got together and I got to just like focus on music and let him handle the rest, which he's really good at, by the way. You know, like I could never do the shit that he does. It's like so good, man. So good.
That's dope as fuck, bro. Yeah, honestly, that's sick as fuck because it's a fucking struggle. I mean, I'm pretty sure you know, like submitting tracks to everyone. Even like just finding the sound that you're saying, yeah, this is Trypbox. Like, I'm pretty sure that's a fucking struggle. And then how you guys are perceived on stage, that's another struggle. Like how you guys choose to put out your artwork, how to present your tracks, how you want your style to come out. Like that's a struggle. That's something that not people initially think about when we're like, I'm gonna be a producer. Like.
All of those you just mentioned, like not easy decisions. Like
I mean, it starts as a hobby, unless you're like an industry plant and like you get into it because your purpose is to move up in the business. That's one thing. But most people, like 99% of people, they start making music because they want to have fun with it. You know, it's like you never started. I mean, at least for me, I didn't start making music because I wanted to make a living off of it. You know, I was just like, I'm gonna make some music because my friend DJs and I want to have something in common. So start that shit. And then once you start to try to like move up just like the hobby status, that's when you run into all those barriers. And that's where I was stuck for a while, man. Like I was still getting better at producing, but that side I never moved it up because like I just didn't want to do it.
Bro, I just wanted to make a banger, dog. Like,
yeah, exactly.
All I ever wanted to do. And then I learned like, nah, fam, that's not what this life is. If you really wanna take it to the level where you're touring off your music and seeing the world because of your music, you know.
And now you see like there's even more stuff nowadays with like social media, doing TikToks. It's just adding more to what you got to do, but you got to do it sometimes.
Facts. But I mean, like at the same time though, even just making like bangers or like just producing music I wanted to produce. I still find like little wins here and there, you know, like, okay, I'm like glad I make music now because I met this person and, you know, little things like that. Like, I don't want to say like touring or like playing to big crowds was solely the reason why, like, you know, we make music type shit. I mean, whatever experiences come with this, like, I'm glad. Like I said earlier, I'm open to everything comes with, you know, I feel like that's how
it's not about the destination, right? It's
about the journey. Hey, I fuck with you. Hell yeah.
Once you get there, it's like, hey, what the fuck do I do from here? It's like, if your goal is to play EDC, once you play EDC, what do? You stop? You know? No, maybe you just keep playing EDC. Maybe that's, you know?
Not about the destination. It's about the trip. Right?
Hey.
We're keeping that.
No, but it does get a bit concerning when people get very mentally like fucked up when they're not touring because maybe their music's not hitting, or you see these frustrations in social media, like, oh,
they're chasing that like the high that they get from playing that show.
Or like
you know?
you see their friends or producer friends, they're playing these festivals, they're getting these labels, and they're like other people, that shit could fuck, that shit could fuck you up, when the mindset change from like the hobbyist to like, all right, now I'm gonna be a professional. I'm trying to be a professional in this profession, this industry. Like, it's just so much mental games that goes through that. Like, I just think that if you just gotta be very patient with that shit in terms of like being a music producer, music artist in this industry, and like wanting to play shows and all that. Because if you get into this whole music production game and like you're making music just so that way you could like be touring and all that shit, like mentally, like it could probably fuck you up. Because maybe what if you're not getting those touring, those shows or label placements? Like at the end of the day, like you gotta just be really satisfied and be happy that like you're just creating music and everything that like the whole touring, the whole being direct support for big ass DJs. I feel like all that shit's a hella bonus, Yeah.
I mean,
For sure, like that's how I like to see shit. Because if you try to like go about it of like, every year I need to be playing a direct support for an artist, or else like I'm just fucking like I just think that way of that mentality can fuck someone up mentally. Like you can have a really bad fucking year mentally if you're just putting yourself at that expectation of like what the industry should be fucking giving you like as a music producer. Like like you just gotta accept that, especially in this industry, like a lot of that shit's fucking tampered and like fucking rigged type shit. So you can't really take a lot of those like show bookings, a lot of that lineups. You can't really take that shit. A lot of times, like it's hard to take it personal for some people, but you can't really take that shit too personal because at the end of the day, like some people are really just like handpicking the shit, and I think for me as a music producer, I think it's just real fucking enough for me to see that there's people outside of there's someone that I don't know like in person that fucks with my shit. Like whether that's like a mile away or like a state like 1,000 miles away, I just feel like that's enough for me. Like from the music producer, like to feel that connection from someone else. Like and I think that's a real much more cooler opportunity if I'm touring or if I'm playing a direct support, if I'm headlining my own show type shit. Like that's all hella extra for me. But just that connection that I think that I could get from someone else, especially that if I don't know their music, I think that's just like definitely enough for me. That makes me happy. For some people, like getting shows, that makes them fucking happy, and some people like they get hella depressed because they're not playing shows because like that's their validation as a music producer or what. I don't know. Like I just don't think playing shows is that serious to the point it should fuck up your mental health. As a music producer, like
I have a tat on my arm, bro. It's my first tat. Perspective is that's perception. I guess perspective is a better word. Perspective is key because, like, if your whole shit is just like I gotta play or I gotta get booked everywhere for a big show, if that's all you care about, then you're gonna get caught up. You're gonna like at some point it's gonna hit you. Especially, I mean, if you are reaching the goals, then good.
And I'm saying that I'm not saying, and also it also could be a good thing that you see that you have that mindset because like you. With that mindset, now you have certain like actions that you need to take place for you to get like to that like goal, and that's okay. If you use that mindset for that to accomplish it, I think that's real cool. But I think some people, it's kind of hard for them to, how would I say this, to tailor their emotions and like not let that shit like get to them, because
I mean that like so whenever you are getting frustrated with that shit, you gotta take a step back and be like, take a different perspective, approach it from a different point. Like if all I was doing was music, I was just I care about the art form, I care about how my music sounds. That's all. And I was getting super frustrated because I love my music. I think it has potential to get signed, but I wasn't getting anything, like no traction, And at that point, it's like, what do? You just keep tapping on the same button and keep getting frustrated until you can't take it anymore and you quit? Or do you take a step back and you analyze, like, why is this happening? Why do I feel this way? gotta track track it back. And a lot of the times, taking a different perspective in the approach of how you're doing things, like for example for me, it was all about the music. Now luckily it's still all about the music for me because I have him, but if I was still trying to do shit on my own, I would have to be like, okay, I gotta chill the fuck out, look at, maybe I have to find myself, take a few months off, like figure out what I'm missing, why I'm feeling this way, because like at the end of the day, it's okay to feel frustrated, but if that's like, if you don't find any more enjoyment out of what you're doing, should you really be doing it, And where you take that step back and take a different perspective on your approach, that's where you can find just, if you
see what you're doing, but then also know why you're doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, you ever seen those trippy artworks where it's like, if you look from one side, it's one thing, and as soon as you like go on the other side, it's something completely different, or just like random shapes. You might be on that side where it's like random shapes, nothing makes sense, and you're just like, what the fuck's going on? All you gotta do is like take a step back, look at it from a different perspective, and maybe you'll find the sense that you're looking for there. And even if you find sense in there for now, that's good. And then maybe later you might have to take another step back to the other side where it was like random shapes. Because like I feel like humans, they just change, it's constant change, constant, like it's not static. And if you treat it as static, as it's like, this is the way it has to be. I have to play shows every year, otherwise I'm not worthy of this shit. Or I have to do this, and if I don't do this, I suck. Like that's bound to get to you at some point and just fuck you up,
I think also just you just got to be grateful for like everything that you've already accomplished, So again, like taking a step back and just seeing what you've done, and you'll sometimes notice there's a lot of things you overlook, because you've just maybe done it so many times. You're like, it seems a little insignificant, but once you take that step back and you look at the bigger picture, you see like, oh, I'm grateful for this, or I'm grateful for that, and I should look at these things as something bigger. They aren't insignificant.
Because if you're like, oh, I gotta play shows every year, and you start playing shows every year, and then maybe after 2 years you're like, shit, that's not enough. I gotta play shows every month now. And once you're playing shows every month, that was your goal. You're like, all right, I'm still doing this shit. I gotta move up. Otherwise, like I'm lacking, But it's if you take the time to be grateful about what you're doing already, you'll realize that like, holy shit, before I would get so hyped about getting 100 plays on my track, and then now if I don't get over 5,000, I get so bummed out, And it's like, when is it ever enough, And it's about the thing about like not the destination, it's about the journey. It's like, once you reach that, oh, my goal was to get 5,000 plays on every song. I have that shit. Now, if I get anything past below 5,000 plays, that sucks. But it doesn't suck, It's just like,
it's still a great track.
Yeah, and it's not even whether it's a good song or a bad song.
Our mindset's making it feel like it sucks, but it's not. That's not the case,
That's human nature, though. Like no matter what you're talking about, we analyze stuff from our own shoes. Like, your previous experiences are going to affect how you see things, right? And so if you've had 10 tracks rack 10,000 plays each, and your next track racks 1,000, that's going to make you feel like, shit, this track didn't do as good as the previous tracks. But if your past 10 tracks racked up 100 plays, and your next track racks up 1,000, then you're going to be like, holy shit, Like, this track is doing good. So it's all a matter of, like, what happened in the past will affect how you see things. And for you to take that step back and see how that's affecting you, that's how you get out of those like slumps, where you're like, maybe you got beat block, you can't make songs. Just like, bro, don't keep pressing playing pause for 12 hours until something comes out. Just like leave that shit aside for a minute, go do something else, Or like, I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. But
at the end you were like saying leave that shit aside, and it's like like sometimes I think with all this music stuff and the business side, you gotta take a mental break, take a week off, take 2 weeks off, go somewhere, go in the mountains, right? Just do something completely unrelated to music, and you might come back and just that inspiration, that light bulb is just back on, brighter than ever. You back into it.
Like it or not, music is not. You're not writing the numbers down in a paper. Like you're talking about accounting. You don't need creativity to. You need to know how to do accounting to do accounting, and you can work 18-hour days. You have a job and you get it done. But music is not like that. You know, like there's the creative aspect of it. That's not just like the more time I spend on this, the more I'm gonna get out of it. Sometimes it's like the opposite. You know, like so. Yeah.
Yeah, true that, dude. I mean, it's tough, bro. I mean, once you start making music, with with certain goals and expectations to want to play like touring on a constant, like definitely you gotta brace like your mindset for like those type of challenges, because that shit will. Yeah, that shit could be tough for sure. If you're not getting the results that you're expecting, you know,
dude.
Like, I've seen. I mean, like for example, like. I was on fucking Facebook and I read this post from some DJ. I was like, man, I got this sick ass fan base, fucking with my music, but this is the 4th time that Los Angeles doing their festivals. So I haven't booked me when there's all these other DJs like on there and shit. Like, I think I'm gonna have to like. I'm fucking tired of this industry. Like, they're not even like looking out for me. Like, they're not in the interest of me and shit. Like, maybe I'm just gonna quit music because this shit is just so rigged. I was just thinking to myself, I don't know why, like...
You were just thinking to yourself, more room for me, fam, for sure.
And I was just like, thinking like... Well, first the way, like, they worded that, I just kind of came off, like, not too good for me, just because like, I was just like, dude, like, first off, you just got an amazing fan base, bro. Like, that's all, like... And that's the whole thing about the whole battle, like, oh, like... You being a dubstep artist and you not playing at Lost Lands, like the validation and shit, and that's just it sucks. That sucks too. Like if you're a dubstep artist, I feel like now like the stigma of like you being a cool dubstep artist is you making it like on a Lost Lands lineup or you releasing to Subsidia, and I feel like that's just it's a fucking tough ass mental battle for like music producers when like everybody else is going to play these shows and like it seems like you do got the proof of concept of music that like it's fucking cool and you got a fan base and it's like it's tough and like you're gonna feel that shit, but I just don't think like for me like you're not playing like those big ass like dubstep show or like you're not going to Los Angeles for the 4th year, like you didn't get picked up. I can't justify that for you quitting music. Like
no, it's not.
For me I can't really justify it. Like I'm just trying to figure out as to why you got into this music shit. Then you know, I guess that's like my main thing. Like it just doesn't seem like you really care too much about like continue to like build a connection with your fan base. If you have this amazing fan base, like if I had an amazing fan base, because this is what this person was claiming, they have this amazing fan base, and this particular artist, like they have a cool fan base. Like if they were to keep on like. I mean, I think they're gonna still work on music. I don't think they're quitting. I think it was just like a rant thing, right? Like just a feeling moment, a moment for feeling, and for sure in the next 2-3 years, like they'll make something out of themselves, like in the circuit, whether they don't make it through Lost Lands or not. Like I believe that. I could just see it from like the music producer and the list, like consumer perspective. I'm just like, it just sucks how like some people, and I do this sometimes too, and I sometimes I try to fight it, like especially like you don't make it on certain labels or you don't play certain shows, like. That's a mental battle that you're gonna come across yourself. You have to like accept for how shit is.
Yeah.
And it may not be the result you want, but it's just like that shit where it's just like what if it never just works out? Like in terms of like playing shows, like exactly. Just think of it like that. Like if you never end up being direct support or having your own touring or having your consistent headlining shows or getting music placements for video games or movies, like let's say all that shit was just out of the picture. Like and we saw this shit in COVID, bro. When the live shows were like fucking were out, so many people were just not giving a fuck about making the music and shit. So some people were. But that's the thing, you know, like some people just want the limelight. Yeah. People just want the limelight, and that's more important to them than wanting to create a genuine like community that's like based around their vision.
Yeah.
And to continue to like invest into that connection, you know. I just feel that's like that seems to be much more like justifiable for me as an artist.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
How I see shows I don't see it as like a point of validation.
Okay.
I think for Trypbox, like we eventually want like the best situation is that we can live off of our music and do it full time, right? You know, so I see the shows as, you know, potentially being one day helping us be financially stable, you know?
Yeah,
and not only shows though, there's other things that we can monetize, whether it's like through sample packs or merch, and then, you know, with the shows as well. I think that's all just helping us get to the point where we can be financially stable and do this full time. So I don't, like the validation part, you can find validation in other things, not just the shows.
Right.
I mean, I think validation wise, just like, as I said, he's always the one on Instagram. He'll eventually, like, every now and then send me a screenshot of like a person who's just like, yo guys, just like about to make music, and I just want to say it's like beautiful, and it's making.
That's the best part.
As artists, you're trying to make people feel something, right? Yeah. Chris even talked about that. I don't know if he talked about it here, but in the most recent podcast we went on, he wants to make people feel something, right? And if you get someone to tell you like, yo, I genuinely like, I don't know, like your shit made me cry or something. I don't know. We never gotten a message like that, but you know, to me that's enough validation. Like, and as far as like you were talking about expectations, right? My friend actually has a song, and there's this one line that really stuck in my head for like a few days. The girl was singing, "Expectations messing with my creativity." I was just like thinking about what that means, right? It's like, what if people expect every Trypbox song to be just as good as the other one? Maybe I could get in my head, you know, and be like, shit, is this really good? You know, that shit messes with you. And as I said, music is not just about putting time into it, because the amount of time you put into it is not equal to what you get out of it, right? So the expectations, or like the expectation of wanting validation, right? Like you want people to come out to you and tell you that your music is amazing, but like, you know, you're not getting that. That can get frustrating. And that's, you're talking about like mental battles. All of that is just like, I feel like artists are always like troubled individuals, man. Like to have a brain, a mind for the creative often comes with like either like depression or just like some sort of shit that's not like regulated in your brain, you know?
Like, you say you're getting your shit out when you're making music?
And you know, like, I don't think I ever sat. I don't think.
Like, are you expressing your feelings, or is it like more objective?
To me, it's just like I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna make some cool music. And whenever I like, moments I realize this is like unlike anything else I ever do. Like I love skating, you know. I'm still learning, but I fucking love doing that shit, you know.
I was gonna ask because you're wearing a Spitfire shirt.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I love it. I wouldn't say I'm a good skater, you know. I've been skating for like 2-3 years now, but like. I love how it feels to skate, but it does not get close to comparing to like if I'm in the DAW and I just make the song and then I play it back and it like gives me the chills, you know, or like I work on a song for a few hours, he pulls up to my house and I'm like, put the headphones on because it's late, and then I can just hear the very high end off the headphones, and then I'm just like looking at him, you know, seeing his reaction and then seeing how he reacts to it. Nothing feels better to me than that, you know, and like. I don't feel like I ever like, oh, I feel sad, I'm gonna go make a song, you know, a depressive song. Like maybe if I was a songwriter, you know, maybe if I wrote lyrics, like I would probably express more of what I'm feeling through that. But
even just like our songs in general, I don't think any of our songs are sad, you know? They're all like happy, upbeat, positive, energetic, you know?
That collab with Burn, Runaway, is very emotional, I would say.
Oh yeah, it has the emotional vibe, but it's still uplifting though, you know?
Yeah,
it's uplifting, I got you,
Yeah, we definitely bring in the emotions, just like not much of like the sad.
I love the shit where it's like melancholic, emotional shit. It's not necessarily sad.
Kind of nostalgic.
Yes, like the feeling of nostalgic, just like euphoric, kind of. That song, like the chords on that song, I feel is what really gives it the emotional vibe. Yeah, the chords that Chris did for that, like, those, when I heard that, I was like, damn, that is so good, man. Because it's just like the way it made me feel, you know, like it was just instant goosebumps. I just thought of it, I just got goosebumps, you know, because I know that's like what I live for. That's what I'm into music for, you know, those moments where I'm like, there's nothing else in the world that will make me feel that way. And that's how I personally know that like this is what I want to do. You know.
Can I ask us? Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Can I ask you something about Runaway real quick?
Yeah.
Because you guys are doing because we're talking about Runaway, right? And that's a collaboration with you and Burn. That was released on Gold Digger. And that was a song that was released a couple months ago. Like it's not old, but it's not necessarily new. It's a banger. And it seems like it's a banger to the point where there's a remix competition to it, right?
Yeah.
Now
Gold Digger's first.
So then that was kind of like our time to like we wanted to do something with it and celebrate.
So that was my question to you. Was that remix competition idea from y'all or from the label?
Oh, so it was actually my idea.
Oh, really? Okay.
So Chris, aka Burn, shout out Burn once again.
Hey.
You know, he texted Bruno and I that it hit 100K. And I was like, yo, like we should try to celebrate and do something about it.
That's wild.
I've always wanted to, you know.
That was our first 100, right?
Yeah.
First 100K?
Our first 100K was
And it was played at Coachella too, yeah?
Was
when you guys were out there?
I
think
no.
I have no idea about that.
Well, I believe Burn was there.
Song
Okay, true.
No, I mean it's been supported by like a lot of artists, like Don Diablo, Dr. Fresh.
That's fucking sick.
Yeah, but it's just a really popular song. A lot of artists have DM'd us or found us through Runaway. So, and I always wanted to find a way to interact with the community, a way to give back. So I was like, you know what, let's try to do a remix contest. You know, finally we're on the other side of the remix contest instead of us submitting.
It feels good to be the one judging and not getting judged.
I feel you on that.
Yeah, so I set up a little group chat with the label, and I hit him up and I was just like, hey, our song just hit 100K. Knowing Gold Digger, they aren't like too big, they aren't too small, so I felt like
they're sick as fuck.
And we're just like, hey, we want to do a remix contest. What do you guys think? You know, they've been super chill about it. They're letting us, you know, they're giving us
like coordinated type shit,
coordinating it,
giving us creative freedom to do it however we want to do it. You know.
So you guys get to choose the winners.
Yeah. So we're choosing the winners, and then the label is still gonna just make sure that it's like not whack or anything.
For sure.
Understandable.
Makes sense.
Understandable. Yeah.
So like you'll have your final candidates, and they was gonna be like, true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's gonna be 6 remixes on the EP. And
So there's gonna be 6.
So there's only one winner from the remix contest. So the other 5 are just like
runner-ups.
Just pre-selected homies of ours.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
We have some dope like kind of bigger name people.
Can we announce some of them or no?
We can say there's one of you guys know Socks.
Oh, good dude. That sounds familiar.
Socks.
Socks. SOXX.
Yes, I do know who that is actually.
Yeah. So he runs the label Gold Digger, but
okay,
he's pretty big.
Yeah.
He's on like a lot of labels that we want to be on, but he's like one of the remixers, along with some other people.
That's dope as fuck.
There's this other guy on there that I won't say his name, but like he has an official remix for Dylan Francis and for Valentino Khan. So he's gonna be on there as well. Along with some other like we have some homies on there as well that we just think they make great music. So we're like, all right, we're gonna secure you a place, you know. But only one winner from the remix contest is gonna be on the EP, and there's gonna be a runner-up. And I believe we're gonna promote them on SoundCloud and YouTube. Give them some prizes as well. There's gonna be other prizes for the first place winner.
Should we announce them? You want to make it known? Actually, it doesn't even matter because it's already closed. But
I realized I wasn't holding on my mic for that part.
Shit, you're just like pointing at it. Hey, well, do you guys know do you guys ever see exactly how many like downloaded the stems and all that? Like, or?
Yeah, so there's over 160 downloads. Over 160 downloads.
That's
good. Cool, man.
And then
that is cool.
Yeah, I mean it's a great feeling. Like when we started Trypbox, we never thought that there'd be even 10 people wanting to download our song, you know, or just the stems, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, over 160 downloads of the stems, and we have over 70 submissions. So the submissions are closed now.
God damn.
Next week Friday we're gonna be doing a stream.
You only pick 1 or 2, pretty much.
Yeah. Two. One of them is going to be on the EP. So we wanted to have the EP be 7 tracks, and then we can choose 2 people to be on there. But the label didn't want to do that, unfortunately.
Okay.
But yeah, man, over 70 submissions. It's going to be hard to choose one winner. But
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
so we're doing a Twitch stream next week, Friday. We're not announcing the winner on there, but we're just going to be reviewing all the submissions, giving feedback, just kind of helping out the people that submitted, let them know what we thought, and maybe for some of them where they could improve on their submissions, you know?
That's it.
And then I think from there, it's not fully set yet, but I think we'll choose like the top 10 maybe. And then like we'll off air, you know, we'll finally make a decision.
I think we're going to probably just like, because there's going to be a lot, you know, I don't want to say a lot, but there's going to be a bunch of songs that.
Yeah, we're not listening through every single submissions fully, you know.
Yeah, like we're gonna on stream, we're gonna be like, we're gonna play through the first drop. If we think it sounds dope, we will either keep listening or we'll be like, okay, this one is a potential winner, you know. And then if there's one that's just like not up to par with what we're expecting, you know, maybe it's like not the producer that's still learning, you know.
Give some feedback, you know. Tell them how they can improve.
Yeah, we'll give them feedback, but we won't listen to the whole thing. And I think like the stream will just be cool to like, for the people that submitted, they tune in and they see our genuine, because we haven't listened to any submissions yet. We're gonna listen for the first time on stream, you know. So like, I feel like it's
see our first impression.
Yeah, when we submit,
reaction.
when we submit our songs to like streams, like Dr. Fresh, he has like a stream that he does, and he like listens to all the songs. It's always super dope to see him like playing our song.
It's his first time listening.
Yeah, and he's like, holy shit, this is so dope. And he's like saying cool shit about it. It's always like, it's cool. It's cool like seeing like a established person like Dr. Fresh, you know, he's like listening to our shit and he's just like, yo, this is so cool, man. You know, just like his genuine reaction on camera. Yeah. And you know it's genuine because it's a live stream. So, you know, we want to kind of do that as well. Provide the opportunity for other people. Yeah.
Shout out Tony, man. Tony, aka Dr. Fresh.
Tony.
Going from submitting to on his Twitch streams to then releasing on his label, it was dream come true for us. I gotta say.
Yeah, that's real cool.
Yeah,
especially from an artist that you guys are, I want to say, was inspired by, to release on their label. That's like hella fucking cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not necessarily inspired, but just like even if you just genuinely look up to that person and you're like, fuck, I wanna have something going for me like this person does. You know, not in like as in a jealous way, but just like admiring it, you know. And then you see that person who you admire listening to your music and like, dude, we're gonna sign this to my label, and it's like, fuck,
that's like you sign that shit, like
yeah, that's so fucking dope.
I wouldn't even say our music like, you know, really fits his sets, you know, but we definitely look up to him. I've seen him live. I love his live sets. He always brings the energy. So yeah, and so it's like that kind of way. At least I look up to him that way, you know.
Got you. Mm-hmm. Well, when can we see some Trypbox energy live? Like, you have any upcoming shows coming up?
We got one in Costa Mesa next month. You guys know Commissary? Is that how you say it?
I've heard of them.
I don't know.
Okay. I believe it's Commissary 2.0 in Costa Mesa. Maybe you guys have heard of DJ Seduza.
I haven't actually.
Okay, no worries. She like DJs all over the place, like LA, Orange County, San Diego, San Fran. But yeah, she does like these monthly events at the place in Costa Mesa, and they look lit. So she like reached out to us a while back, so we're doing that.
That's cool.
Other things that are just in the works, talking about it here and there, but that's about it for us.
Any new music coming out pretty soon besides like the remixes from Runaway from others?
American Boy remix coming out soon.
Yeah,
very soon.
American Boy.
Yeah.
American Boy by Estelle and.
Well, how soon are we gonna get that?
I mean,
like probably like beginning of next month.
We've been having it. It's been ready to go for months, but like we're just
working on like promo stuff for it. You know?
Yeah, we're trying to make it like a good release because that's a big song, you know. So we want to make sure that.
And it's a really good remix.
Yeah, the remix is good. So we played it out live. Did we play it at the one with Chris.
Oh, I don't think we played it.
Yeah, no, we played it last night. Always goes hard when we play that shit.
Yeah.
So,
we played Catch One last night. So, and then in terms of other songs where we have an official remix coming out next month.
For
I don't know if
can
I
you say for who or
actually no, it should be fine. It should be fine. You guys know Ramon Pong?
I don't know.
No worries. He's with Brownies and Lemonade.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah, so it's like I believe it's
Or like what does he do like for Brownies and Lemonade? Like
is he on the street?
Is he like on the street team or what does he do? Designer.
He works alongside with like the two main guys. So,
okay.
But I don't know exactly what like. There's that Chad Kenny guy.
Okay. Yeah.
You know him, and then there's the other guy, Hemmett with he always wears that hat that goes all around.
I'm not sure. No.
Okay, I forgot his name, unfortunately, but. So Ramon Pong, he makes his own music. I would consider like IDM. It's very like complex producer porn type of stuff.
You guys ever heard of IDM?
Nah.
Intelligent dance music. It's just
intelligent dance music.
Yeah, that's how you know it's
a lot of like breakbeat, a lot of like offbeat.
Intelligent dance.
Not everything's like in the 4x4 tempo.
Yeah,
you know,
very exquisite. Like you're definitely not
very experimental.
Not listening to it on the car on the way to work. You know, if you're gonna listen to that shit, you gotta be on the intelligent vibe.
Have you ever heard of DDM?
No.
Dumb dance music.
Dumb dance music. Oh my god.
Because I haven't, bro. I want to hear what dumb dance music sounds like.
Hey, that's what whip something up for you. Yeah, whip something
probably
up
Slap House.
Slap. Damn, the shade, bro. Word, man.
Shout out to Slap House.
Well, dude, I mean, it was great to talk to you too. Here in the Temple. You know, I know we've been trying to schedule y'all to come through, and we finally made it happen.
Yeah, dude.
I know you're feeling a little under the weather, Bruno, but I mean, it seemed like you were being a champion about it. I appreciate it, man.
Holding myself together, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully it was good, you know.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I mean, thank you guys for coming through to the podcast. Any last minute things you guys want to announce, or if that was it, you guys want to plug anything in? Any last minute shout outs?
We're gonna like be starting. Can I say that I'm just gonna say it. We're gonna
I'm just say it.
Yeah.
Say everything, bro.
We're gonna like start doing some YouTube stuff, like just like videos about our music and just like us, you know. Try to get
track breakdowns.
Yeah.
And then like I think we'll do some like track demos that are made completely from our sample packs, you know.
Yeah, we're gonna
showing that we're using
just like production content for YouTube. Like, we definitely don't want to be like every other YouTube producer. You know, we want to have our own thing going. We're still figuring out how we're gonna do that, but we definitely want to start that. Definitely gonna start like streaming as well. You know, like having some production streams.
Yeah. We're also looking into potentially doing like some sets on YouTube. But we want to do it like out in the wilderness, that type of stuff. Set up with some generators, have a few camera angles, just make it look nice and pretty, and just 1 hour set on YouTube.
Yeah,
people can watch that. You know, I don't know if you guys know Circle.
Yeah, they go to like all these various locations.
Yeah, so look at the one with Disclosure, and they're in this like just this giant foresty area in like. I forgot where, like
foresty area.
Yeah, best description ever. In like Greece or something. Probably not Greece.
I don't think Greece has forests.
Somewhere in Europe, but I was kind of inspired by that. You know, just doing a set in the middle of nowhere, having a few cameras around you.
Sounds cool.
Yeah, and hopefully it'll be enjoyable for people. You know, they get to check out a full 1 hour Trypbox set. Yeah.
For that. Well, I'm gonna make sure to leave your guys' social media description and all that kinds of stuff on the bottom of the video. So that way, if people want to go check out your music, go check out your shows, like go check that out. You guys have a smart link too, right? Like a link tree. I'll link that. That way, everything's all bunched together. Thank you guys for your time coming through. To the Lose the Sample podcast. Hope you guys had a great time with us talking. I mean, dude, we talked about a bunch of fucking stuff, bro.
Yeah. I love like format. You know, like just podcast format. You just get to talk. Like even listening to Chris talk on the podcast that he went to, I still have to listen to the one he didn't hear. But it's just cool seeing him talk about stuff that you don't hear about, you know? Like, it's just like a different side of things. Like, stuff that we said here today, it's not necessarily stuff that we put out, like, on a post, you know?
Or just hanging out, like, at a show type shit, because...
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
it's just different conversations, different, like, you know, banter.
Loud. Yeah, at shows, it's just like... Yeah. It's you know, so fucking loud.
Bro. Right.
I'm drinking. I'm not gonna really remember anything we're saying right now.
You're scaring the bitches away.
Yeah, I feel
yeah. Thank y'all for coming through to the podcast, man. Thank you guys for tuning in here in this new episode of the Spotlight Podcast here at Lucid Tempo with our special guests Trypbox, Patrick, Bruno. Thank y'all for coming through. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you guys dig this episode. Subscribe to the channel if you guys like it. Thumbs up on the video and hit the bell button and stay notified. And we'll see you guys on the next episode. Peace.
Thank you.